Am I the asshole for making my daughter cry over a guilt trip? 2 days ago, a 53-year-old woman had a surgery to remove a skin cancer. The instructions were to keep the bandage on for 24 hours and not lift anything for 2 weeks to a month, else I may bust my stitches. I asked my kids for help around the house and they both said they were too busy. One 19-year-old girl going out of town and the other 23-year-old girl said she had a project to do. She's learning a new skill so she can get a better job. I'm happy the one is getting to have some fun, and the other I'm proud she's improving her life. But seriously, this sucks. I can't afford hiring someone to help out. So I asked a man on our second date to go grocery shopping so I could feed the cat and get milk. Thank God, he was nice and didn't mind my messy-ish house. I didn't realize I'd be incapacitated like this or I would have planned better. The next day when I changed my bandage, the wound was bigger than I expected, and the ones that I bought were too small. I tried to use one, but it laid on top of my stitches. The pain was terrible, but I didn't have anything else and it's on my shoulder blade, so it's incredibly difficult to get to. I needed help. I contacted my friends, but they were all busy. So I reached out to my daughter who said she was studying a new skill, and I explained that I was desperate for help. I couldn't see my back. I didn't sleep much because every time I rolled over, I woke from the pain. She said she could, but not until 10 or 11 p.m. that night, and she had another thing in an hour. I called her. I thought I could pick her up quickly, run to the store, and get her back home for her thing. If she was late, I figured people would forgive her because she was helping her mom. She started crying because I was giving her a guilt trip and she needed to breathe. Exasperated, I hung up. I ended up going to the pharmacy, and the nice pharmacist helped and put it on my back in the store where anyone could see. It was weird asking a stranger and being exposed in public, but she was kind and said I could come back again to put on the band-aid the next day. Now, I didn't know it would be so easy. I did feel terrible that my daughter cried and sent a text apology which she hasn't responded to. But I'm hurt. I don't often ask for help. I always bend over backwards, spend time and money that I don't have, do whatever I can for my kids. But this hurt a lot because I really wanted her to help me versus a stranger. I don't know what to think and am going around and around in my head. I've never wanted to emotional manipulate my children. I don't even point out my hardships or how I've sacrificed for them, but I legit needed help, was alone, sleep deprived and in pain, also hungry, but that's another story. Am I the asshole? Is there something I'm not seeing? My parents were never divorced. Honestly, I don't know what to think of this, and would like to take responsibility for my part and make amends if needed. Am I the asshole for skipping my brother's wedding to play in a tennis tournament? So I, 26 male, play in a lot of adult tennis leagues in the area I live in. If your team wins the league, you get to go to a big tournament later in the year at a big tennis complex in the middle of the state. A men's team I was on won our league 2 weeks ago, and the big tournament is in 4 months. In order to play at this tournament, you need at least 6 players to be able to make it. Of the 9 people on my team, 6 including me have said they can make it, while the other 3 can't make it for various reasons, so we have just enough. 4 months ago, my brother, 24, got engaged to his fiancée, 23-year-old woman. I was super happy for them, and when he asked me to be his best man, I of course accepted. They don't want to wait too long and almost immediately started wedding planning. They plan to just have a small ceremony with close family and friends. Last week my brother told me they were finalizing a date after much delay, and mentioned 3 dates on 3 separate weekends the same month I have my tournament, one of which was the weekend of my tournament. I told my brother that I already had plans that weekend and that the other 2 would be better, though I understood it was their wedding. He sounded like he understood, but 3 days ago he announced to everyone attending that the wedding would be on the weekend of my tournament. I asked him privately why they picked that date, and all he said was, it felt like the right date, to his fiancée. The wedding and tournament are not close to each other at all, so I can't attend both. After thinking about it for the last 2 days, I told my brother yesterday that I can't make his wedding. I had already committed to my teammates, and if I didn't go, no one could, since we wouldn't have enough guys. My brother was very upset, and called me various names and said he couldn't believe I would miss his big day. He told my parents, and now they, along with a bunch of other relatives, are giving me grief for my decision. So am I the asshole? I feel really bad and want to be there, but I also did commit to the tournament first and don't want to let everyone on my team down.
Am I the asshole for telling my friends they aren't ready for a baby? I, 26-year-old woman, recently learned that one of my best friends, 26, and her husband, 29, are expecting a baby. I feel like an ass since I didn't react with joy like everyone else, but I honestly can't support their decision. They've only been married for a couple of years, so there was plenty of time for them to settle down and have kids, in my opinion, but my friend has always had baby fever. I'm mainly concerned about their ability to be parents. They both work full-time, and when they get home they complain they are too tired to take care of stuff around the house, cooking, cleaning, etc. They eat out every night because my friend doesn't know how to cook and her husband just doesn't want to. Their house is always messy between dishes, laundry, and general filth. They also have poor money management skills, always shopping for stuff they just see and want but don't need rather than buying stuff like groceries to cook actual meals. They've struggled to pay rent a few times because of this. In addition, their house is incredibly small, overflowing with stuff and not a safe environment for a baby. It's very old and has a lot of issues. Realistically, how do you expect to take care of a baby with habits like that and in a space that isn't suited for them? When I expressed these concerns to my friends, they essentially told me I shouldn't worry about it because nobody is ever prepared to have a baby, and that I should just be happy for them. I get that you're never really prepared, but you can have a game plan, right? Start saving and making sure you have the stuff and space required. How nonchalant they were about my concerns made me even more anxious. You'd think I was having the baby. Yesterday the topic came up again and my friend asked me if I had changed my mind about it, and when I told her no, she was grated. I also learned they are now trying to rush a move to get to a bigger and better house even though she's halfway through her second trimester. She's starting getting defensive, saying that just because I don't really want kids of my own that I was trying to bring her down, and that I should just support her pregnancy rather than being concerned about future problems. I told her that she and her husband were too caught in elation to see the reality that being a parent isn't just about cute baby clothes and being a friend to your child. I did get snippy, which I shouldn't have done, but it felt like she was just brushing away what I consider valid concerns. I did eventually apologize, saying, "I'm sorry you feel that way, but I don't think I'm unjustified here," which didn't go well because it wasn't a real apology. Not one she wanted to hear, at least. I just can't bring myself to believe they are responsible or mature enough to have a baby, and that makes me feel like a bad friend. So, am I the asshole for telling them they're not ready to have a baby and should have waited until they got their lives together? Edit. Since a lot of people are saying the same thing, I have expressed these concerns before, many times prior to my friend actually becoming pregnant. It wasn't unsolicited. She would ask my opinion and I would tell her these things each time. Update: I was an asshole. I overstepped my boundaries and hurt people I care about. No excuses. I consider myself very fortunate that my friend answered my text message and agreed to see me. She's allowed me to go over to her house tomorrow so that I may properly apologize to her and her husband. I do not expect them to forgive and forget, but I would like to tell them I'm sorry. Am I the asshole for charging my pregnant cousin for a new wedding dress after she told me about her pregnancy last minute? I, 29 female, own a bridal shop. My cousin Lucy, 27F, is getting married in 2 months, and I designed and tailored her wedding dress as a gift. She paid me for the materials. It will take another week to finish the dress, and I constantly update Lucy on the status of her dress and asked if she is happy at every stage and if she had any more ideas. She would make the odd comment, but never anything major. The dress in total took me just over 4 months. Last weekend, her and her fiancé hosted a family dinner, and at the end, Lucy announced she was pregnant. At the dinner, I congratulated her and her fiancé. She came to my store with my aunt that week for her final fitting. I again mentioned the pregnancy and asked how far along she was. She was 12 weeks along and told me how hard to keep the pregnancy a secret. I told her the dress wouldn't fit her at 20-ish weeks during the wedding, and she said she knew and asked me to retailor the dress to fit her new proportions as she would showing heavily at the wedding. I told her I can't do that due to the intricate beading that I will have to carefully remove and reattach. I told her she might as well get a new dress as it would be easier for me to start from scratch, and essentially, I was just making her a second wedding dress. She agreed, and then I gave her the invoice for a new dress. I gave her a breakdown and charged her for materials, tailoring, labor, and overtime, still with a discount. I will have to work outside my hours to make her the new dress on time, as I have a busy schedule with existing clients that pay full price. I told her if she had told me about her pregnancy from the second she had found out, I might have been able to adjust the dress then, but it is complete now. She said her fiancé wanted to keep it private, which I understand, but I wouldn't have told anyone, and I only needed to know for the dress purposes. She called me the asshole for not understanding where she is coming from and said she will only pay for materials. I refused to back down and told her that this close to the wedding she will struggle to finalize a new dress she likes and get it tailored in time, as she will be pregnant. I also refused to give her the dress sketch, as it was my design and I didn't want her to replicate my work elsewhere. She left angry with her mom, who later called me up to say Lucy is upset about not having a dress this close to the wedding and that I am being cruel because this dress is not good for the baby.
Am I the asshole for canceling and letting my wife go on a weekend break alone? Myself and my wife have been married for 6 years. Things have not been so great the last months. She suggested that we go away for the weekend, and we booked a weekend break in Amsterdam. We both live in Bath, so not a long flight for us. I work for an American company on West Coast hours, so finish work a lot later than her, but I was able to make arrangements to finish early on Thursday. Our flight was Friday morning. She has class after work on Thursdays. It is an online course, so not that taxing, and she didn't need to leave the house to go. She starts work at 9 a.m. and finished at 5:30 p.m. Her class runs from 6 p.m. until 10 p.m. When she finished work, she came into my office. I work from home as well. Told me she was going to pack as she had to get up at 6 the next morning to drive. I told her that was not okay, that we both had to clean up, that she should start, and that when I finished in 2 hours I would help her finish off cleaning the house. She said she was tired and had been in front of her desk for 13 hours. This is a lie. She had a half-hour break between 5:30 and 6. She also has a lot of freedom from her job and constantly leaves her PC for 20 and 30 minutes during the day. I told her I didn't think it was fair that I would have to clean the house on my own. She shot back that I shouldn't and that it would be fine when we got back. I hate coming back from vacation to a dirty house. I told her that if she wasn't willing to help me clean the house, I wasn't going away in the morning. She said fine, told me to you do you. She packed her bag and went to bed. I slept in the spare room and she woke me the next morning, asking where my bag was. I told her I hadn't packed and wasn't going anywhere. She flies back tomorrow morning. We have been texting back and forth and she hasn't said anything about me not coming. My mom and dad think I was right not to go, but my best friends said I was being unreasonable. Is my wife going to leave me? Am I the asshole for not going on a weekend break when my wife refused to help me clean the house?
Am I the asshole for kicking my daughter out because she hasn't found a job since moving in? Names changed for privacy. My daughter has not picked up any of my or my husband's calls over this. Were we wrong to have handled it this way? My daughter Amy, 24, graduated university a couple years ago and has had several part-time jobs since then. She would work for a few months, quit and look for another job which has better pay. At the end of last year, she asked if she could move in with us both in our 40s so she could save money and look for a job in the field she graduated in. That sounded good to us, so we agreed. We did not expect any kind of rent or money from her at the time, simply that she would find a job. However, it's almost August and she has not found a job yet. We asked about her job hunt and she said she was still looking and has not had any offers post-interview. I feel tricked and lied to because surely she would have found a job by now. It's been months. She has also never mentioned going to any interviews and it felt like she was lying to keep living here. Her field is one that is looking for more women to join the workforce. She has been living here for months to essentially do nothing. So, I talked with my husband and we both agreed it would be best for her to live with her and my husband's sister as she works in the same industry as the one my daughter graduated in. Maybe she could learn some things that will help her get a job quicker. We then told Amy that she needed to move out to her aunt's while she looks for a job because it's clear she isn't doing enough here and her aunt could help. She was upset, immediately asked that if she contributed to some of the bills, she could stay, but we said no and it was time for her to get more serious about applying for jobs. She said nothing and packed her bags and left. We tried calling her today to ask her how her aunt's house is. She lives an hour's drive away and did not answer us. Instead, she sent us a spreadsheet tracker of sorts which detailed job roles, application links, dates, and stages of application where multiple said interview. I immediately felt guilty and tried to call her again. She will not pick up and her aunt sent my husband a text asking us to respect Amy's privacy while she stays with her. Were we assholes here? We tried doing what was best.
Am I the asshole for not letting my brother and his family stay with me anymore? I own a nice house in a city that is quite famous for the resorts in the area. I live with my dogs and we have plenty of room. I often let my friends and family stay with me. I work from home, so I have my office in the guest house. I sometimes rent out my house and live in my guest house for months at a time. I paid off my mortgage in 10 years that way. In 2020, right before the lockdowns, my brother brought his new family to stay for a week. I didn't have any renters that week. We had talked well in advance. Whenever I have guests, not renters, staying with me, I go in and out of my house as I please. This was an issue for my sister-in-law and her kids. They said I was not to come in without ringing the doorbell and being let in. I asked my brother WTF and he said that his wife and step-kids really liked their privacy. No problem. So now the pandemic is in the rearview mirror and he asked if he could bring his family again. I said no. I said that I liked being able to use my property as I wanted and that if his family needed privacy, there were literally hundreds of hotels in the area. He said I was being a dick and punishing his family for their desire for privacy. I said they could come, but that if they want exclusive use of my house, they would have to rent it. My weekly rate is about $1,500. He said I was being ridiculous and that he could stay at a hotel for that much money. I said that's what he should do then. I got a call from our parents saying that I needed to stop being so petty and let him use the house. I told them that I would do so if in return my dogs and I could stay at his house since it is close to some really nice hikes my dogs would love. They said that my brother's wife would never agree to let someone stay in their house. I said that was a good policy, so I would not be letting them stay with me. I got a message about a last-minute rental for a few days during the week my brother wanted to come and I took it. Now for sure he can't stay here. My parents and brother are pissed off with me for screwing up his vacation plans, but I don't really care. I wasn't sure where to put this, so I will just add that when I go into my house when I have guests, I don't go into the bedrooms or anything. I go to the kitchen or freezer or laundry room. That's it. When I have renters, I wait to do my laundry while my maid service cleans up the house between bookings.
Am I the asshole for ordering an expensive dish on a group couple outing? My husband and I regularly go out with 4 other couples, except this time there was a new couple that came along. Each couple pays for their own meal. Everything is expensive. Everything is a la carte. So we ordered the tomahawk steak with a vegetable and with a lobster mac and cheese and one with mashed potatoes because I'm pregnant and can't eat seafood. My husband also ordered a really expensive bottle of wine but offers it to the rest of the table after he poured himself a glass, letting them know that it's on him. The couple that is new to the group is looking at us strangely and comments about us ordering the most expensive steak on the menu. She just looked at me and said, "Way to flaunt your money around." So I looked at her and I said, "Excuse me." She said, "Well, you didn't have to order the most expensive items on the menu." I said, "Well, the last time I checked, my husband and I were paying for ourselves, so we order what we like. If you have a problem with it, that problem resides with you. I have no problem with the fact you ordered the cheapest thing on the menu because I'm not paying for you, so please don't try to count my money and I won't count yours." My husband makes a joke to try to make light of the situation and everyone laughs. At the end of dinner, I go to the ladies' room. When I come out of the stall, she's there waiting for me, and she says, "I really don't appreciate how pretentious you and your husband are with ordering the most expensive food on the menu." I told her we all paid for our own food and ours were not the most expensive things on the menu, as they were dishes that were more expensive. And I didn't appreciate her being in my business and considering that she's new to our group, trying to imply that I'm somehow being pretentious when she doesn't know me. And then I told her to tell me she's jealous without telling me she's jealous. Then I told her if she doesn't have enough money, she should keep her broke ass home. I know it was mean, but I found her audacity disgusting, and I just wanted to put her in her place, and I felt like she was trying to bully me for whatever her reasons are. I don't really care. My longest friend in the group texted me saying that I offended the new couple and should apologize. I asked, apologize for what? Should I apologize for her assuming I'm pretentious, or should I apologize to her for not being able to or not wanting to order what we ordered? I'm really confused about what I should be apologizing for. So I asked her, did she tell you what she said to me also? And then she was literally waiting outside of my bathroom stall for me to come out. She said yes, she told me so. I asked, how do you feel that I should apologize? So my friend said that the other woman's feelings were really hurt and she was crying. I tell my friend my feelings were hurt when she attacked me. I basically told her I would not be apologizing, and when you mess with the bull you get the horns. So am I the asshole? Update: I called my friend and told her that I would not be apologizing, and if she did not want me and my husband to be a part of the friend group anymore, then that's on them. She told me that the other girl said that her and her husband would not be a part of the friend group anymore, especially if I was going to be at any of the dinners. She informed her that I have been in this group since the very beginning, so I wasn't going anywhere, even though she agreed with her to some extent. I asked her if she wanted me and the other girl in a neutral party who was there to all get together and have a cup of coffee or tea and try and hash it out so no one had to leave the group. She said she was amenable to that, so we met about 45 minutes ago. As soon as we get there, the new girl starts with her crocodile tears, and I cut in and let her know that her tears mean nothing to me and they don't make me feel sorry in any way, so she can cut it. Our neutral party who was there rehashed what happened, and rehashed what she heard happened in the bathroom, and we both agreed to what was said. The solution was that we were to agree to disagree because neither of us was willing to apologize, and we were to never bring this up again and agree that what another person orders is no one else's business and no one is to comment on what another person orders. The new girl disagreed. She felt that it was pretentious to order with someone else can afford to order. I said, how are we to know what you can and can't afford? None of us know what you have in your bank account, nor do you know what we have in ours, and why should anyone limit themselves based on what you can't afford or what anyone else can't afford? So I said I agree to disagree. I agree that I will not, nor have I ever commented on what someone else ordered, but I will not be ordering based on what someone else can or cannot afford. That is not my business. The other two ladies, my friend and the neutral party, agreed with me, and the other girl said that she won't come out as long as I'm in the group, and the neutral party said that I would always be in the group. So if that is the case, then she is saying that she is out of the group, and that was that. Am I the asshole for canceling vacation less than 24 hours in due to my kids' behavior? My husband and I have 3 kids, 9 and 8-year-old boys, and a 3-year-old girl. The boys have been driving us crazy. They fight like cats and dogs. We've had countless talks with them about respecting each other to no avail. I understand sibling rivalry, but it's gotten to the point it's disruptive to us all every day. I already told my husband last week I wasn't sure if the vacation was a good idea. My husband shut me down pretty much immediately, and things went ahead as planned. First of all, the 3.5-hour car ride was predictably hell, boys fighting and riling each other up the whole time. Husband and I kept trying to reassure each other that things would be better once we got there and they would be too excited to cause trouble. We were wrong. They had so many reminders of what not to do once we got to the rental house, so they do everything wrong from the get-go. Shoes on the white furniture, check. Running in the house, check. I turned my back for 2 seconds and the 8-year-old threw a box of chalk in the pool to keep his brother from getting it. We went out to lunch and they were out of control in the restaurant. The 9-year-old ran away from us in a strange place because he didn't get his way. We finally go to the beach and they are frankly being brats. Refusing sunscreen, fighting over toys, pushing their luck repeatedly, going farther and farther out in the water than we told them to, cursing. By the time we got back to the house, it was around dinner time and I was fed up. They were totally ruining it for everybody. Nothing had worked and I told my husband we needed to go home, for the reasons mentioned above, mainly that they needed to see a real consequence. My husband still insisted it would get better. I put my foot down and told him that I didn't even want to be there at that point, so either I was leaving, or we all were. He got super pissed and told me it was ridiculous and unfair to our daughter. I actually agree with him but saw no other choice at this point. Of course, when I tell the kids, they immediately burst into tears and are begging to stay, promising they will behave. My mother, who came with us, was also near tears. She thinks her precious grandbabies do no wrong. She argued with me too, begging me to just let it go, but I refused to budge. So, we left, less than 24 hours into a 4-day vacation. Half the ride home was spent with them sobbing and my husband pretty much gave me the silent treatment the whole way. My mother decided to stay behind a little longer but then started randomly texting me about 30 minutes in, asking if I was serious. She knew I was, and told me the whole reason she came was to spend time with the kids. So I had now ruined it for everybody and their only little ones. Here we are the following evening and pretty much no one likes me right now except my 3-year-old. Are they right? Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for purposely locking my husband out of the house for getting home from party at 6 a.m.? I, 36, have been married for 15 years to my husband, 40. We have 2 daughters, 9 and 4, and he is usually a great dad but not a good husband. He loves to party, get wasted, and spend Sundays sleeping while me and the girls just stay home. We have talked about this issue multiple times and he has promised to change, but hasn't. He would stay home a couple of weekends and then would go back and do exactly what he said wouldn't. I do not have an issue with him going out, but getting home in the morning I feel is very disrespectful to me, my family, and my home. Last night we had friends over. At around 10:30 p.m., I decided to go to sleep with my daughters. At 3 a.m., I get up to get some water and I notice that he is not home. I check my phone and he had texted me that he had went out with his friends and that he was on his way back. Fast forward to 6 a.m., he still wasn't home and not responding calls or messages. I went from scared that something had happened to him to mad that he was doing exactly what he always does, so I proceeded to lock him out and asked him to not come home. He said, again, that he was on his way, but I did not open the door. Now I'm worried that I made things worse. Am I the asshole or he deserves to learn his lesson? Edit. Thank you so much for your comments. I know locking him out is not a solution, but I feel so angry and disrespected, especially because at the time he would have gotten home, my girls would have been up and would have seen him drunk high. During the week he is very present. I work full-time, while his job allows him to work part-time, so he is the one taking the girls to school, teaching them sports, and spending time with them. I think he is a good person, but not a good partner. I have thought about divorcing him, but it breaks my heart for my girls not to have their father around. Edit 2. We live in the Caribbean, so him passing out in the cold is not an issue, but still I know not letting him inside could have caused even more harm. Edit 3. He has been home since 7 a.m. He got in through a sliding window he forgot to lock before he left last night. He has been sleeping in our daughter's room and hasn't come out, so I haven't seen him. I am thankful for your comments and I am aware he could have gotten hurt. I'm glad he did not and I regret what I did, but I feel he has been putting his life and others in danger way before tonight. I am trying for my girls to have a fun, relaxed Sunday, but I am heartbroken for the position we are all in. I suspect it could be more than drinking. I also know addiction is a disease, but I do not have the tools to deal with everything I have on my plate right now. While he is sleeping, my mind is racing. I am taking care of my girls and getting ready for work tomorrow. Thank you again and keep us in your prayers. Keep us in your prayers.